Okay, so hello, Mr. Shrima. Thank you so much for coming to our expo. And can you tell me a little bit about how you learned about the IBSA fund and whether you found it flexible and responsive?
Thank you very much for having me. What we do is we work across the SADC region in Africa, and so we look for potential funders for projects in SADC region. That's when we learned about IBSA, that there is funding that's possible to do, and then we, together with the Comoros government and UNDP, we pushed up a proposal, and fortunately IBSA funded it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So can you tell me what have been the initial results of your project and what are you hoping to achieve from this project?
Yes, we are excited about the initial results because now we have quantified the natural capital. That is, what are the type of soils these guys have and what can those soils support. So now the community knows that for this type of soil, you can not always grow what you want, but it can support a certain specific crop. So those are exciting results. We've also identified the limitations of those soils. For example, some of the soils are very acidic, so now you can plan interventions like lime, addition of lime, and so forth. So those are exciting preliminary results from the project. And we've also done like a geological survey. Now we know what kind of reservoir, irrigation infrastructure to put into place. Those are exciting results for the project at the moment.
Can you tell us about some of the crops that are important to this community?
Cassava is very important. Onions is very important because onion, they use it mostly for business. They sell to each other and so forth. So it's important that you can grow a lot of onion productively on an economic scale. And some of the vegetables are also key for the communities.
So I understand you're a South African agency and you're working in the country of Comoros. What have been some of the accomplishments, exciting developments and challenges between this kind of cross-country collaboration?
Oh, it's always exciting. It's never easy to work across countries because you're working across different cultures. But the most important thing is if you sit down with your partners and decide what to do, you can always agree on the best way forward. So yeah, communication, being French speaking and us being English speaking was a bit of a challenge, but we have worked around it. We also have colleagues in the Comoros that can speak English, and we participate. And the most important thing is to co-develop a proposal or co-develop an idea. Sit down in a room and then develop what you want to achieve. So that's been exciting for us to work with the communities and then develop a general idea of where the communities wants to go, and us as technical people, we assist them to go in that direction.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, so my next question is, how are you working with academic institutions to support methodologies of South-South cooperation?
Yeah, it's always important that when you go into an area, particularly a new country, you look at what the resources they have. We know that the Comoros have a university, and they have a research council for agriculture. We have brought them on board to help design training material for the Comoros that is also aligned to what the universities are doing.
Thank you so much. Okay, can you tell me, in your personal experience, what's the difference between a South-South and a North-South project, and how does that apply to this IBSA project, which is the South-South project?
There's one philosophical difference that I think is important. The other stuff is generally not so important. The philosophical difference is that with the North-South projects, the project is confined. It's prescribed. You have to work within a certain frame. Now it's with the South-South collaborations and projects, they are open. So that difference allows us now to engage the community and get their ideas on what they want to see going forward. That's the beauty about the South-South collaborations, because now you can build into the project what the community really wants, as opposed to a prescription where you just need to stick to what is in the project and so forth. So that's a big philosophical departure from the North.
And as far as measuring impact, have you noticed any differences between the two different types of projects?
Yes, those two questions are related. In terms of impact, we now on the South-South project, you can measure the impact of what the community wants. If the community wants to see increased productivity in vegetables or increased training, then you can now measure what the community wants, rather than measuring a mechanical set of infrastructure or project that's been given to them. Yeah.
And what do you see going forward? Do you have any ideas about scaling up this project? What are you looking forward to?
Yes, you would recall that our The Comoros are 3 islands, basically. The funding we have now is basically targeted to one island, which is the island of Moheli. We're trying to establish an agricultural hub, a center where the communities can learn, so that hub can service all the farmers around it. But we would like to do the same for the other 2 islands, to establish a hub as well, and then the communities can learn from there. One key aspect which I think is critical for the development of the Comoros, if we can link transport between islands, it's a big challenge. If you produce items on one island, it's very difficult to take the process to the other island. So ideally, it would be nice if the South-South collaboration can be looking at inter-island communication, such that produce from Moheli, where we are setting up an agricultural hub, can be sold on the other islands. So those are basically our plans for the future, and also in assisting the Comoros going forward. Establishing transport and also developing these agricultural hubs in the respective islands.
Thank you so much. This is a very inspirational project, and thank you so much for speaking with us about it.
Most welcome, and thank you for having me. Thanks very much.
Thank you.